Aston Villa are certainly one to watch this season. After a monumental push to qualify for the Champions League last year, they've improved even more this campaign, finishing in the top 8 in the league phase plus a quarter-final in Europe, a quarter-final in the FA Cup too, and a seemingly clear path to the final. Could this be the season Villa finally end their 29-year trophy drought? By the way, with all they've already achieved this season, what if I told you that nobody in the team is even thinking of stopping right now?
We have to feel proud of everything we are doing, but of course we want more.
Reaching the quarterfinals of the Champions League in your first season in the tournament this century is huge, but Villa's ambitions are much higher. Yes, finishing in the top 8 in Europe this season is a fantastic achievement, but at least that is what the signs on and off the pitch are pointing to. Throughout the January transfer window, Aston Villa were extremely active. In fact, they were the second most active Premier League club after Man City, who spent nearly 200 million euros. The Villains brought in Doniel Marlin and talented Spanish right-back Andres Garcia on a permanent basis, while the heavyweight signings of Marco Asensio, Marcus Rashford and Axel Disasi all arrived on loan, with the former two even having the chance to stay beyond the end of the season. Yes, many Villa fans may be repeating the famous football phrase, never fall in love with a loanee, but I feel for you all. This bromance between Marco Asensio and Marcus Rashford is one of the most beautiful and refreshing things we're seeing in European football at the moment. And starting with the 3-time Champions League winner, let's recall what the situation was like with him just 2 months ago when he arrived at Villa Park. Well, to be perfectly honest, Asensio's last season and a half since leaving Real Madrid has been the toughest of his career, to say the least. During his first season at PSG, the Spaniard was given a few chances, but mainly in League One. In fact, of the 19 league games he played for the Parisians last season, Asensio started just 13. When it comes to the big European nights in the Champions League, Asensio started just 1 game for PSG, failing to score or provide an assist. No major influence from him in that iconic comeback against Barcelona in the quarter-final, not even a full half played in the semi-final against Borussia Dortmund. Yes, it's fair to say that he missed a total of 3 months of the season due to injuries, but for those late stages of 2023-24, he was healthy and eager to help the team. Luis Enrique, a compatriot who was known to be a great admirer of Asensio's qualities, didn't give him the chance to do so. And for a player like Marco himself, who thrives on the big nights in Europe, in the biggest stadiums, under the flashing lights, this is where he feels at his best. A player who has scored in the Champions League final against Juventus in 2017 and in a Champions League semi-final against Bayern Munich a year later. To be benched in the moments he is built for is a great pity and a waste of talent. The next season, 2024-25, was even worse for Asensio. Between August 2024 and his departure from the Parc des Princes, Marco made 16 appearances in all competitions, starting 8 of them, and still managed to contribute a respectable 2 goals and 4 assists. Following the arrival of Kvicho Kvaratskhelia from Napoli, it was clear that Asensio was not needed in Paris. He boarded the plane to Birmingham and now has the chance to show PSG what they've missed in a few days' time when the two teams meet in the very place where Asensio's nightmare began a year and a half ago, the Parc des Princes, in the first quarter-final of the Champions League. In terms of form, from the first minutes in Villa's claret and blue in that FA Cup tie against Spurs, it looked as if the Real Madrid version of Asensio had never left the Santiago Bernabeu. Flashy skill moves, roulettes, back heels, vision. Asensio managed to show his immense class in less than half an hour at Villa Park, giving Villa fans a glimpse of what they can expect from him. He finished the game with a 100% passing accuracy rate, 1 chance created and 20 touches, each of which was increasingly exciting. And that was just the beginning. Then came the brace against Chelsea in the 2-1 comeback at Villa Park, the brace against Cardiff that sent them through to the quarters of the FA Cup, and the 3 goals in 2 games against Club Brugge in the Champions League to set up the tie with PSG. Speaking of the Bruges game, the most fascinating thing about it is that Asensio was not fully fit, but still managed to change the whole game after coming off the bench in the second half.
Asensio, his adaptation is being very good. He's having some small problems, not feeling 100%.
So, before we go any further, let's sum up Asensio's magical time at Villa Park. 8 games, 7 goals. Do you know who's been his #1 assistant so far? Marcus Rashford, of course. Whether it's the fact that they share the same name or just the magic in their feet, but the Rashford-Asensio bromance is shaping up to be a memorable one for Villa fans, especially if they manage to win something this season. And speaking of the Man United man, amazingly, all of Rashford's assists so far have been for Asensio goals. The other thing that stands out between the two is that Rashford was expected to be the goal scorer and Asensio the creator, especially when they first arrived. However, whether it's Unai Emery's master plan or just coincidence, Rashford doesn't have a single goal so far, while Asensio has 7. And the other way around, Asensio hasn't registered a single assist to leave that role for Rashford, who already has 4 to his name. At the time of writing, you can be sure that 99 out of 100 Aston Villa fans would want to keep both Asensio and Rashford at the end of the season. That would have been considered sensational a year ago, when no one realised how high the ceiling was for this Aston Villa side, but now the tables have turned. Everyone is afraid of Aston Villa, and any opponent who dare to underestimate them, well, they'll pay dearly. But it's fair to say that Villa's magic doesn't just come from the new boys. None of this would have been possible without Unai Emery, the Basque maestro, who's already established a reputation as one of the best managers in world football, having won trophies with every major team he has coached, apart from Arsenal. Sevilla, PSG and Villarreal is certainly the man to build a dynasty at Villa Park. Since his arrival in October 2022, Emery has managed to do what few coaches have done at Villa: build a system that makes them both defensively solid and deadly in attack. Digging a little deeper, Emery has indeed become a legend at Birmingham. As hyperbolic as that may sound, realistically, there is only one Aston Villa manager in the 21st century who can compete with Unai Emery, and that is Martin O'Neill, who was in charge between 2006 and 2010. Under him, Villa finished in the top 6 in 3 successive seasons, but never played in the Champions League, let alone finish in the top 8 and reach the quarter-finals. Of course, what Emery does in principle is fairly straightforward when we talk about his tactical philosophy. Fluidity, constant movement off the ball, and quick transitions. These are the 3 cornerstones of Emery-ball. Everything in the on-the-ball phase starts with the goalkeeper and the 2 centre-backs in front of him. Something that is more or less mandatory. You should have a ball-playing trio of goalkeeper and centre-halves. And Villa have just that. Pre-Emery veterans Emiliano Martinez, Ezri Konsa and Tyrone Mings are excellent on the ball, but the same can be said of Pau Torres and recent signing Axel Disasi, both of whom were brought in by Emery himself. Then you have the midfielders, the ever solid, ever smooth on the ball, Yuri Tielemans, Onana and Boubacar Kamara. The trio haven't had much opportunity to play together due to the injury problems of Onana and Kamara, but they'll certainly be a focus for Emery during the pre-season tour. Then there is another fantastic talent brought in by Emery himself, Morgan Rogers. I wouldn't be far off the mark if I said that the 22-year-old is one of the most naturally gifted players in the Prem at the moment, would I? An exceptional footballer who is finally proving his worth in attack, where he is second only to Ollie Watkins in terms of goal contributions this season, with 19. And there you have it, the winning machine Emery has built that could easily challenge PSG, Real Madrid, and why not even Bayern Munich in a potential rematch of the iconic 1982 European Cup final when Aston Villa stunned the German giants. Could history repeat itself? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Or if you want to learn more about how Inter Milan are building a dynasty similar to that of Juve, just click on the video you see on your screen right now, and I will catch you there.